So let us look at the second method of, of centering in case we are given an even period moving average. So let us take the example of a 4-yearly moving average. So we have a table where and the steps where we'll plot the values in the table and follow the steps accordingly. Okay, so here what we are trying to do is, okay, or the steps can be narrowed down to the following, where in the first case what we'll do is we'll find 4 yearly moving totals. And as you know that in case of an even year moving average, in case when we have a 4 yearly moving average, what happens is we are dividing into groups of 4, and the moving total will be placed against the middle year. But in case of an even year moving average, we cannot find the middle year. Okay, so here if we are adding for the first group, let's say we're taking years 1, 2, 3, 4, what happens is 2 and 3 are the middle years, and the moving total will lie in between these years. Similarly, for the next group, 3 and 4 will be the middle year. The next group, 4 and 5 will be the middle year, and the moving totals will lie in between these middle years for each group or subset of 4 years. So that is where centering becomes important. So after we found the 4-year moving totals, okay, the next step is to add a pair of 4 yearly moving totals, which means after finding 4 yearly moving totals, we are now taking the yearly total 4 yearly total of one group, we're adding with the 4 yearly total of the next group, so on and so forth, as long as we can find pairs of 4 yearly moving totals. Then the last step is simply dividing those totals found in column 4 by 8, and that will give us the trend values. Okay, so step 1, it involves finding the 4-year moving totals. So let us, because this is a 4 yearly moving average, we're dividing the data or the values into groups of 4. So let us take the first group of 4 years, okay, and this will include values for the years from year 1, 2, 3 and 4. As you notice that 2 and 3 are the middle values, so your moving total will be in between year 2 and year 3. So you have y1, y2, y3, y4. Call this total as a1. Then for the next group, you take years 2, 3, 4 and 5, and your middle year will be year 3 and 4. So your 4 yearly moving total will lie between these years. So y2, y3, y4, y5. Call this total as a2. Then the next group of 4 years from year 3, 4, 5 and 6. So here your 4 and 5 will be your middle year, so your total also will lie in between these years. So y3, y4, y5, y6. Call this total as a3. Then for the next group of years, okay, we have y4, y5, y6, y7, year 4, 5, 6, 7. So your values, the moving total of this group of year will lie in between year 5 and year 6, so somewhere here. And so we call the sum a4. Then the last group, since we have only 8 values, so 8 years, so the last group will be from year 5, 6, 7 and 8. Your middle year will be, your value will lie in between the middle years, which is year 6 and year 7. So your total will lie somewhere here. So call this as a5. So we have found the 4 yearly moving totals. Now the next step is to add a pair of 4 yearly moving totals, and now we can center. So this is the stage of centering, okay, because now you add, if you look at step number 2 here, if you look at step 2, you add the first and second 4 yearly moving totals and put the sum against year 3. So now we're adding the first and the second yearly moving total. So A1 plus A2. Okay, let us say we denote the total by A1 and we place it against year 3. So to say year 3 is the middle value between these two, or the middle year between these two 4 yearly moving totals. Okay, so we repeat for the next pair. So we take another pair now. Let's say A2 and A3. Now it will be placed against the year 4. So A2, A3, call this as capital A2, the sum. Then we move to the next pair of 4 yearly moving totals, your A3 and A4. Add them up, call the sum as capital A3. Then the next pair we have A4 and A5. So A4 and A5, which is placed against year 6 now, call this total as capital A4. So do you have any more values? That's the last of the values. So now what we have done is we've centered, which means in other words we are able to place the values against a particular year. So A4, it's a value for year 3, A2 is a value for year 4, A3 is a value for, sorry, A1 is a value for year 3, A2 is a value for year 4, then A3 over here is a value for year 5, A4 is a year for A6. So the last step now is dividing these totals by 8. So you're dividing these totals by 8. Okay, so before you get confused, remember these are not centered, they are not assigned to any particular year. Okay, whereas these values are assigned to a particular year. Okay, so let me write this part over here properly so that it falls directly against a year and not in between. So you have here A2 plus A3 equal to capital A and 2, and this part here A3 plus A4 equal to capital A3. So you have this value, okay, there it is assigned against year 3. Okay, so this next value and these values, so you're able to center, assigned it against the year. So the next step is simply dividing these totals by 8. Okay, so the reason is we are dividing by 8. Now if you notice that A1, okay, is a sum of 4 values. A2 is also a sum of 4 values. See, A1 is y1, y2, y3, y4. A2 is y2, y3, y4, y5. So 4 plus 4 is 8. So together, when you add them together, this capital A1, okay, which is a sum of small a1 and small a2, becomes a sum of 8 values. Okay, so average is nothing but the total divided by the number of observations, so which is 8 in this case. So your trend value will be the values obtained in column 4 divided by 8. Okay, next A2, which is a sum of small a2 and small a3, and small a2 is a sum of 4 values. Small a3 is also a sum of 4 values. So even this is divided by 8, you get second trend value. A3 divided by 8, the third trend value. A4 divided by 8, you get the fourth trend value. Okay, so here the first 2 years and the last 2 years will be left out. Okay, so year 1, year 2, year 7, year 8, we cannot obtain the trend values. So these are your trend values. Now if this was a 6 yearly moving average, okay, the procedure is almost the same, but here we're taking groups of 6, okay, instead of 4, and here A1, A2, A1 will be a sum of 6 values, A2 also will be a sum of 6 values. So when you divide, okay, so 6 plus 6 is 12. When you find the the trend values, you will divide the 2 period moving totals of 6, or if you're taking a pair of 6 yearly moving totals, okay, which means the values you get in column 4, in column 5 you have to divide by 12, okay, because like I've said, A1 will now be a sum of 6 values, A2 will now be a sum of 6 values, so their sum, okay, let's say capital A1 will be a sum of 12 values, so you have to divide by 12 in the last column.